A wicking bed is the closest thing gardening has to a cheat code. It waters itself for days at a time, and when University of South Australia researchers tested wicking beds against carefully hand-watered tomato gardens, the wicking beds matched or beat them on harvest weight while using far less water. The catch has always been cost. The classic timber and pond liner build adds $135 to $300 to a raised bed, and when this channel covered wicking beds a few months ago, the comment section called that out fast. Honestly, fair. So this video breaks down a version built around a 27-gallon storage tote, where the entire parts list totals under $50. By the end, you will understand the design well enough to sketch one for any container you own, and the full build sequence is waiting in the pinned comment. Stay for the last part especially, because $5 of leftover pipe replaces the $30 water gauge commercial planters brag about. Start with the physics, because the physics is the whole product. A wicking bed waters plants from below. A water reservoir sits in the bottom of the container, potting soil sits above it, and the soil pulls water upward through capillary action. Picture a paper towel touching a puddle of colored water, and the color climbing the towel on its own. Water molecules cling to each other and to the tiny surfaces inside the soil, and that grip is strong enough to beat gravity. Gardeners did not invent this trick. The planet did. Wild meadows survive rainless weeks because groundwater rises through the soil from below, feeding roots the same way a wick feeds a candle flame. A wicking bed shrinks that groundwater system into a plastic box on a patio. Now compare that to a watering can pouring over a raised bed on a July afternoon. Gravity fights the gardener the whole way. Water rushes past the plant roots, drags fertilizer out through the drainage holes, and by evening, the soil surface has baked into a dry crust. Watering from below flips the physics. The plant sips exactly what it needs, exactly when it needs it, which is honestly the best kind of lazy. Mississippi State University Extension describes the soil like a kitchen sponge sitting in a shallow pan of water. Evenly moist, top to bottom. Never soggy, never bone dry. That evenness matters more than it sounds. A tomato plant drooping in the afternoon heat is not just sad to look at. It is stress, and a stressed plant drops flowers and delays fruit. Which raises the obvious question. If this system is so clever, where is the proof? Adelaide, Australia. Researchers at the University of South Australia noticed that wicking beds were being hyped all over the gardening internet with almost no published science behind them. So they built a proper experiment. Wicking beds went head-to-head against best practice, precision surface irrigation, growing tomatoes in a university glasshouse. The result made the hype look modest. The wicking beds matched or exceeded the hand-watered beds on yield and on water use efficiency while demanding far less labor. Depending on the size of the reservoir, studies report the growing mix can stay moist for up to 10 days without anyone touching a hose. And a 2018 review in the journal Horticulturae scanned the wider research on capillary irrigation and kept finding the same pattern: steady moisture from below, healthier plants, less wasted water. So the science is settled. The problem was always the price tag. The whole game, then, is fitting that science inside one $13 plastic tote. Time to open the design up and look at the 5 parts inside. Part 1. The body. A 27-gallon heavy-duty storage tote, the black bin with the yellow lid, about $13. The thick-walled version matters because between summer sun and 200 pounds of wet soil, a flimsy, clear bin cracks in one season. And no, a storage tote will not win any beauty contests on the patio. The lettuce will not care. Part 2. The reservoir. The bottom 4 inches of the tote hold the water supply, and the classic filler is pea gravel at about $5 a bag, 3 bags deep. But the smarter filler is a $10 coil of 4-inch corrugated perforated drain pipe that black flexible tubing with slits down the sides. The pipe weighs almost nothing, and because it is mostly hollow, it stores more water per cubic inch than a pile of stones ever could. Part 3. The plumbing, and plumbing is a generous word. One 10-foot length of 1-inch PVC pipe, about $5, cut in two. The first piece stands upright in a corner as a fill tube, running from the tote floor to above the rim, so a garden hose can pour straight into the reservoir without disturbing the soil. The second piece becomes that water gauge from the intro, and its moment is coming. Part 4. The separator. A $6 roll of landscape fabric lies between the reservoir and the soil. Water rises through the fabric freely, but soil cannot wash down through it, which keeps the reservoir from silting into mud over the years. Growers who skip this layer report a working bed for about one season and a rebuild on the lawn the next spring. And Part 5, the wick itself, which is simply the soil. 2 bags of potting mix, about $18, and that word choice hides the single most important decision in the whole design. Not garden soil, not bagged topsoil, potting mix. Why an $18 bag succeeds where free backyard dirt fails is the best part of this video, and it is 2 minutes away. The receipt so far lands between $47 and $54 depending on local prices. No pond liner, no pump, no fittings. First though, 2 design questions that decide whether any wicking bed thrives. The first is reservoir depth. Plenty of wicking bed videos show 8-inch, even 12-inch reservoirs. So why does this design stop at 4? Because a deeper reservoir does exactly one thing. It stores more water, so refills come less often. It does not push water higher, and it does not grow bigger vegetables. The University of South Australia research tested different reservoir depths, and the yield differences traced back to the soil zone, not the water zone. So the real trade is root space. A 27-gallon tote measures about 15 inches deep inside. An 8-inch reservoir leaves plants 7 inches of root space, which rules out tomatoes and peppers entirely. A 4-inch reservoir keeps 10 to 11 inches of soil for roots, and in most climates, it still covers 3 to 5 summer days between refills. Hot, dry regions can justify deeper reservoirs. Everywhere else, the roots win. The second design question is drainage, and the answer is 1/2-inch hole drilled through the side wall, exactly at the top of the reservoir line. This overflow is the entire safety system. The moment the reservoir fills, water trickles out the hole, exactly like the overflow slot in a bathroom sink. Mississippi State Extension highlights this as the reason a wicking bed physically cannot be overwatered. A heavy hand with the hose cannot flood it, and a week of summer rain cannot flood it either. The one detail that matters is the height. A hole placed even a 1/4 inch too high parks standing water in the soil layer, and standing water is how roots rot. Now, the soil payoff. Why does garden soil kill this system? It all comes down to pore space. Capillary rise needs a continuous network of tiny air channels for water to climb through, like a bundle of drinking straws standing in a glass. Quality potting mix is engineered for exactly this. The peat or coconut coir holds moisture, the white perlite specks and bark chunks prop the channels open, and water climbs 10 inches of the stuff without effort. Garden soil is the opposite. Out in a real garden, soil stays alive because earthworms tunnel, roots push, and winter freezes crack it open. Sealed inside a plastic tote, that same dirt slumps into a brick. The pore network collapses, the straws pinch shut, and water physically cannot climb. The result is the cruelest failure in gardening: a completely full reservoir, and plants dying of thirst 8 inches above it. The surface bakes to dust, the bottom sours into mud, the middle does nothing. This is why Mississippi State Extension specifically recommends soilless mix, the peat, bark, coir, and perlite kind, for any sub-irrigated container. One more soil detail separates a bed that works on day one from a bed that confuses its owner for a week. The mix has to go in damp, blended with water in a wheelbarrow until it feels like a wrung-out sponge. Capillary action needs a moisture bridge to get started, and bone-dry mix sitting over a full reservoir can simply refuse to wick. Growers report that exact scene as the most common first-week failure. And that same extension guide hides a silver lining that rescues the budget for good. Those $18 of potting mix are not an annual cost. In a sub-irrigated container, the same mix keeps working for years with a single top-up bag each spring because nothing compacts it and no soil-borne disease splashes up from the ground. Year 1, about $48. Year 2, a partial bag. Quietly, this becomes the cheapest bed in the whole garden. If this explainer is earning its place in your weekend plans, hit subscribe. This channel digs into raised bed and soil science every single week. Now, the fun part. What actually goes in the bed? Wicking beds love plants that love steady moisture. Lettuce and leafy greens are almost unfair in this system. Shallow roots, constant thirst, fast results, and the difference shows within 2 weeks. Rainbow chard, spinach, basil, and bush beans follow right behind. One cherry tomato tied to a single stake suits a tote this size beautifully, and the steady water supply fights the fruit splitting and blossom end rot that plague top-watered tomato plants. The plants that sulk are the Mediterranean herbs, rosemary, thyme, and lavender, which actually want to dry out between drinks. Sprawling melons and full-size squash simply outgrow the container. A full video is coming on what thrives and what fails inside wicking beds, because some of the failures are genuinely surprising. Feeding works differently too, in a good way. Water never flushes through this system, so fertilizer stays put. The one side effect is that salts slowly collect near the soil surface, and the fix is a once-a-month top watering with the hose until the overflow runs, rinsing the whole system clean. Mississippi State Extension even suggests feeding straight through the fill tube, a teaspoon of calcium nitrate dropped into the reservoir for fruiting crops, which also helps hold off blossom end rot. Which brings us to the payoff promised in the first minute, the $5 water gauge. The leftover half of that PVC pipe, with a few holes drilled along its bottom 4 inches, stands in the opposite corner of the tote, resting on the floor. Water flows into it freely, so the level inside always matches the reservoir. A thin wooden dowel dropped down the pipe comes out reading like the oil dipstick in a car engine. A wet line at 3 inches means full. A wet line at 1 inch means top up today. A bone-dry stick means fill it now. Marked at each inch with a permanent marker, that dowel becomes the water gauge that commercial self-watering planters charge $30 extra for. Total cost: nothing, because the pipe was already in the budget. So that is the $50 wicking bed. 1 storage tote, 5 simple parts, and the same capillary science that university researchers found can match hand watering at its very best. The complete build sequence, every measurement, every price, sits in the pinned comment ready to screenshot. Now the comment section is yours. What container would you convert? Gardeners have built these from food-grade buckets, old bathtubs, IBC totes cut in half, even broken coolers, which are secretly perfect because the walls are already insulated. Drop your container idea in the comments below this video, and if you already run a wicking bed, share what you would design differently. Those comments help every gardener who reads them. And one warning before any drilling starts. There are 5 small mistakes that quietly kill wicking beds. Not dramatic failures, slow ones, where the plants never quite thrive and nobody can figure out why. Reservoir depth is not one of them. The worst one involves that overflow hole, and almost every first-time builder makes it. That is the next video. See you there.